All right, welcome everyone. We will go ahead and get started then here. So I'm Leslie Johnson. I am the manure educator for the University of Nebraska, Nebraska Extension, and I have been working with the Soil Health Nexus for a really long time, but I'll be doing the little bit of moderation that this entails. So, what is the Soil Health Nexus? So, the Soil Health Nexus is a university-led team that's dedicated to increasing access to research-based soil health information, including extension and other resources that we actually look at and try to make sure that they're very unbiased apart. So, you can check out our website at thesoilhealthnexus.org. There's a whole toolbox of things, and the digital cafe is just one piece of that toolbox to try and get you some soil health information. We are a team made up of representatives from all across the 12 North Central region states. So typically the way this web series works is that we have a short presentation from an expert, and then we go out into breakout rooms, including that are set up for researchers, educators, agency, farmers, and students, and you are allowed to pick whichever room that you want to attend in there. So when we go into those breakout rooms, we have a number of different things that you can talk about, anything related to the webinar, what you learned, that kind of thing. And we'll give you a reminder of that after the presentation is over. So for today, we'll get right into it. We have with us Dr. Caro Córdova, who is an assistant professor here at the university, and she also serves as a statewide soil health specialist with the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. So she's going to talk to us a little bit on soil color as a soil health assessment. And then I encourage you we'll come back to this again, but when Caro is done, and we get done with the presentation, the practice. I cannot speak. I apologize. When we get done with the breakout sessions, I encourage you to come back July 15th for our next webinar, where we're going to talk about soil and human health, the current status and future needs regarding that with Eric Brevik. So join us again on July 15th, and I'll turn it over to Caro.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Leslie. And thank you once again. The Soul Health Nexus is so great, to be part of these digital cafes and be here to engage with several participants from across the US. So let me share my screen. Okay. Please confirm that you're seeing the full screen.
Looks good.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. So today I'm going to share with you some of our work that we have been doing with the collaboration with Judy Turk, a pedologist, and also Ada Ireva, who is our master student, who is connecting with us today. So we try to estimate organic matter through soil color. So that's, for us, organic matter is the key indicator of soil health. So let me just go over a little bit more about this topic. So first, like touching on the basics, soil functions deliver like several ecosystem services. In this picture, you can see that there are like around 10 or 12 ecosystem services that we get from soils. So when we have a healthy soils, then we could have like all these ecosystem services that are going beyond just producing food, fiber, and fuel as we see here. We could like sequester carbon, we could purify water, we could regulate climate, also we could recycle nutrients and host diverse living organisms. So without a healthy soil, actually the life on earth is not possible. So based on these different ecosystem services, like the ones that I'm highlighting here, relies mainly on soil organic matter. And these, what is soil organic matter? Soil organic matter, first is plant residues, micro and macroorganisms at various states of decomposition. The soil organic matter is the main source of organic compounds that are like unique and also stable. Like some of the soils can range from 1 to 8% of soil organic matter. The backbone of soil organic matter is mainly organic carbon, so around 58 to 60% of the organic matter is organic carbon. So through some lab analysis, we could determine more accurately organic carbon. So that's why, like, when we want to know like what is the percentage of organic matter, then we could back calculate them. There are, of course, other methods that can directly quantify the organic matter percent, the organic matter concentration, and that is through the loss of ignition. So initially, this method has been very popular because it's like very cheap and also easy to analyze, and that's something that I want to highlight here. And when people use this type of method in order to determine the percentage of organic carbon based on the loss of ignition, they can transform this organic matter with a conversion factor. In this case, we see like 172. Later on, I'm going to like build a little more on that part. So one thing that I want to add here is also that 95% of the organic nitrogen is tied to the organic carbon part. So they go hand in hand. So now if you ask me what is the best indicator to determine soil health, if you have the opportunity to do it like widely in your field or in your plots or in your garden, I would say like measure organic matter because of all of the organic carbon compounds are like tied to that. So this is our pool of nutrients. So now, what is the role of this organic matter in soil and farm health? So let me just cover a little bit more about these. The role of increasing either organic matter or organic carbon, I'm going to use interchangeably these two terms because, as I mentioned, they are connected. When we increase organic carbon, we are able to decrease the compaction in the soil. So as you can see here, compaction we measure through soil bulk density determination. So the more organic carbon that you have in your field, the less compaction that you're going to have. Like the soil is going to be more fluffy. Also, when you're increasing the organic matter concentration in your field through like organic amendments, through like manure applications and so on, or compost, or like more residues in the field, you're able to also increase the amount of water that can be stored in your soil. So you increase the available water holding capacity of your soil. So you're storing more water. And also when you're increasing organic matter, you can also increase the porosity. So that is very important, porosity, because we want to have like enough spaces, like porous spaces where diverse living forms can live in. And also we need to have like those air pockets, those pores in different sizes, so the water and the air can move freely from the soil. And we want that, right? Because in a very extreme rainy event, we want the water to go through the soil profile and not stay on the top in a compacted soil or in a soil that is limited because it has not very pores in it. So now like here, in a nutshell, in this picture, you see like healthy versus an unhealthy soil, like soil that has like, cover, it has been accumulating organic matter through like residues and having like living roots. We see that left side like healthier than the other side, that we have like some compaction, some ponding water, less residue is left on the field, and less living or roots are growing like throughout the growing season. So now, if you ask, what are those strategies that I have to increase organic matter or organic carbon in my field? So that goes back to the soil health principles. So one would be to keep the soil cover, minimize soil disturbance, integrate livestock into your cropping system, maximize the plant diversity, and last, maintaining continuous living roots throughout the not only like the growing season, but off the growing season as well. So here I want to show you an example of a case where we see like the impacts of these different soil health practices. So this is a long-term study where one rotation was like, managed in 4 different ways. The rotation was corn, soybean, wheat, and organic carbon or organic matter was like, track over 25 years of having these conservation management practices in place. So the first, we have the management like conventional management with tillage, like chisel plow, followed by another plots that had no till, same rotation, no till, with the only difference that be no till. The third one was like with the reduced inputs of what they normally have in the previous conventional tillage treatment, with addition of cover crops. So these reduced inputs was just 1/3 of the inputs from the conventional tillage treatment. And the last treatment was organically certified, so no chemicals applied, with addition of cover crops. So what we can see here when they measure organic carbon or organic matter, they found that, compared to the conventional tillage, the conventional practice, like going into like just no till increased 11% of the organic carbon, going into like not using much inputs but adding cover crops, that increased to 28%. And then like the other one like was like organically certifying with cover crops was like somewhat similar to the reduced inputs treatment. So these experiment was run like in 1 hectare plot, so big scale experiments, experimental plots where they tested and measured these changes. So as you can see, when they are increasing the management intensity, going from like conventional all the way to like more factors or more management practices in place, like soil health practices in place, they were able to increase organic carbon over time. Like, with that, they have been increasing fertility and also more having more stable productivity levels in these fields on the corn and soybean rotation. So now, if you ask me, like, but I've been like measuring organic matter, but it's not changing, from after like 1 or 2 years or adopting some cover crops. Organic matter takes time. It is something that doesn't occur overnight. So I really want to engage. I mean, I really want to emphasize that it will depend on the management, the crop rotation, the climate, and also the soil type that you have. So in cases where you are starting already with like high organic matter soils, like molly soils, like for example, somewhere in Iowa, like changes in organic matter are not like seen immediately because you're already starting with high levels of organic matter, like rich organic matter soils. But if you are like, in areas where, your organic matter levels are like 1%, like, after adopting cover crops 3 or 5 years, you are going to see those changes in organic matter. Of course, they are not going to be like fully 1% or 2% higher if you are just adopting cover crops. They're going to be like, in the decimal places of the increase. But that's something that, it takes time, and I want you to stay engaged, and just know that soil health is not like the goal, or like accumulating organic matter is not the goal. It's actually a journey. So that's something that you need to be aware and need to be patient as well. So for people that are interested in monitoring changes in organic carbon, we have developed a protocol that is, used by USDA ARS. And through this protocol, we try to establish like a consistent framework for organic carbon measurements, ensuring like, reliable data collection, and also like, a method that can allow us to do comparisons across sites and so on. So if you're interested on monitoring organic carbon changes in your soil, here is like, a protocol that you could use that focus in like, surface soils and also in deep soils, like going over to 2 to 3 feet samples. Now, switching gears and going into like, the project that we have been working here in Nebraska, let me introduce you my team. Judy Turk is the lead PI of this project, and we have these two masters students, one already graduated, and Ada, who is just connecting with us today. And in this project, we try to link soil color with soil organic matter content. So first, why, or how the soil color is linked to organic matter. So here in Nebraska, in the Great Plains, we can like, make that comparison, as we don't have any volcanic activity, and also most of our soils haven't been like apply like biochar and so on. So we could like relate that darker colors can't inform about higher organic matter concentrations in the soils, like can range from dark brown to black. And this is because organic matter has some pigments that are rich, and as they decompose, they attributed these dark black color to the soil. So their presence we can able to relate to or the soil color to organic matter concentration. So again, like different land uses can affect this organic matter content and consequently the soil color. Additionally, like texture is another element that can also affect organic matter content. So this is not new. Like this concept of linking color, soil color to organic matter is not new. Many people have been already developing different soil color charts for different parts of the US. There are like some cases in Virginia, also in Illinois, here in the US, that have like their soil color charts. In some cases, pedologists even like in the soil survey, when they created the soil survey database, they use the Munsell color book, where they like they can attribute different type of colors to different features of that can get from this Munsell color. Many people started using color sensors, and then also we have an app available from an ARS site, and then, we have the soil color chart. So from all of these different options, as you can see, there are like, go from very high in price to like somewhat complex, like, the apps. And then we have, the very cheap, very easy to use, low cost, high sampling density that can be used in the field by anyone, these color charts. So we try to, our project tried to develop one for Nebraska. So as I mentioned before, like several other scientists have developed color charts for different parts of the U.S. And the objective of our project was to develop and evaluate these region-specific soil color charts, accuracy and usability to estimate organic matter in Nebraska through citizen science. So for these, like my colleague Judy Turk has been done. She has been working on this topic for several years now, and we are building on top of what she has been working on, using like archive soils from all over the all over Nebraska. As you can see here in this picture, this is they're like subsampling archive soils from the top horizon, the top 10 inches from different parts of Nebraska. So the methodology that we use to develop these soil color charts first started with searching the Nebraska major land resource areas using the National Cooperation Soil Survey Characterization Database. That led us to have like 13 MLRAs, and then we were able to group them into four regions, four regions with broader color regions, like Eastern, Sand Hills, the South Central, and Southwestern. For each of these regions, what we did, we from the database extracted the soil moist Munsell colors data from the 25 centimeters soil surface layer of these patterns. Later, identify and counted the frequency of the most 4 to 6 the most common soil Munsell colors, and also like textures for each of these MLRAs. Later, calculated the interquantile range of these soil organic matter levels associated with each soil color, for later to be combined like the colors with any overlapping soil organic matter interquantiles into like a single average color. These led us to like converted these region-specific soil organic matter concentrations into organic carbon by using different conversion factors by region. So if you recall that when you determine organic matter by loss of ignition, in order to obtain organic carbon, you use like a conversion factor. So in our case, we acknowledge that there are differences across regions by texture. So the different conversion factors change depending on the region, and you will see in the next slide. So based on that, we built and refined these color charts. We tested them in different soil health events that we organized last year and this year. So we were able to engage with around 102 participants and 38 citizen scientists. So these are like, the four regions that we developed soil color charts to estimate organic matter concentration: Eastern, Sand Hills, South Central, and Southwestern. For those of you that don't know where Nebraska is located, I apologize, but Nebraska is located right at the heart of the US. So probably we have people connecting from outside of the US. So just to make sure, that is like in the central part of the US, where we have like, we are right located in the Great Plains. So our region, I mean, we were able to have like these four regions, and as you can see here, in order to convert our organic matter concentrations into organic carbon, we use different conversion factors. And in these pictures, and then that varies depending on where we are in Nebraska. So this is region specific, and also this builds on top of research already conducted to determine these conversion factors. So here we see in the picture, like, how it looks like one of our color charts. Those are like, trifolds with enough information that will walk through like each step. So it could be like self-explanatory for anyone. So it could be like user-friendly. So here you see like, we have the pictures of like the two sides of our trifolds. We have like, this is an example from Eastern Nebraska. Here we walk the participant through the different steps to like, collecting the soil, how to measure, how to do the estimation of organic matter. So here we have the color charts that we were able to determine for this area, and the typical ranges of the organic matter that we found that, that's relate to that particular color. When we did some activities, when we included this activity of testing our color charts in our soil health events, we invited the participants to use the color charts and evaluate them to four different soil samples collected from like, that particular region that we want to like test the chart. So we asked them, we gave them like a survey to evaluate and give us like an approximate number based on the color that they see on moistened samples, and we collected that data from there. So this was a hands-on activity where we were able to deepen their knowledge in organic matter, in organic carbon related to soil health. So the results that we got from like, their estimations compared to the actual measurements of organic matter, you can see here, this is the case of the Eastern Nebraska soil color chart. We have here like, the four samples that we gave it to them. The red line that you see in each of these distribution graphs is the actual organic matter concentration. So as you can see, like in brief, like, in sample 1 or 2, like most of the participants, like between 5 to 15%, like underestimated the percentage of organic matter. So it was underestimated by 5 to 15%, compared to the actual concentration. The other samples, they were like, overestimated, as you can see, by a 10 to 20% of the actual organic matter concentration. So that's something that, we were like, it was interesting to see like, their perceptions. Of course, we acknowledge that there are like, different people differ by like, sometimes like color blindness in certain way, certain level. could be like the illumination on the room, could be another factor, or could be the people like didn't moisten very well the sample. So that could also cause like these differences. But overall, that was not that bad estimation compared to the actual organic matter concentrations. So now when we asked them about like, the what were their impressions of using these color charts. So first night when we asked them about like, how informative was these color chart. So they 98% of the participants responded that it was like highly informative. Regarding to like, how easy it was, 66% of the participants found it very easy to use it. And lastly, 66% of the participants mentioned that they will probably use this color chart. So most of these results were very positive, and people were very engaged with these activity and these tool. So just to wrap up, estimating these organic matter through the soil color, like first, this was a region specific soil color charts that were calibrated for Nebraska. Not only like provided producers to estimate and track changes in organic matter, but it also like helped them to strengthen their like their knowledge about like organic matter, soil health. So this tool was like easy to use, cheap, and then also like can be like used like in high density sampling in the field. So through the citizen science activity, we effectively engage with producers and agronomists. Many of them, like always asked us to have like hands-on activities and opportunities, and also like tools that they can use in the field, and they can be like easily to use or easy to access. So that's something that it was great that this activity met that demand and was like a highly accepted by our participants, so health participants. And then these color charts, of course, I need to highlight, are not meant to like replace any lab analysis of soil organic matter content. However, they can give us like in the field like a first estimation of the organic matter levels of a field and how they change, how they are different between like practices or sites or locations. So that's something that for someone that is in the field can have a rapid estimation of the organic matter levels in their fields using these color charts depending on the region where they're at. So that's something that we were happy that many producers asked us to like give them more color charts so they can like share it within their community. So I wanna end here. Here are our contact information, and I'm happy to take any question or join in any of the breakout rooms. So thank you very much once again for your attention and for joining us on this digital cafe.